Kayla from Kayla Crochet Love, and welcome to episode 30. If you are new to my channel, welcome. It's nice to see you here. And if you are returning to my channel, it's always nice to see you here. And as usual, I will link where you can find me online down below. And I apologize for my bit of a messy hair day. I'm having a bit of a lazy day. It's just this one little piece here. I'm in need of a haircut, but anywho, that's not important. It's just going to drive me a little bit crazy. Let's see if I can tuck it there. It's just going to get ruined in a second anyways. But yeah, how have you guys been? I think it's been a couple weeks since I've been on here. I think I'm losing track of time as usual. But I figured I'd hop on here and just do a little bit of an update. I don't have a whole lot to show you guys. I haven't been up to a whole lot of crocheting and whatnot. I've been kind of in a bit of a funk the past few weeks. I've just not been wanting to do anything. I think it's just kind of like the January blues. Just, I get home from work and I just want to sit on my butt and do nothing. So that's what I do. But I'm starting to get a little bit more work done on things, but again, not much. I have no finished objects except for two that I forgot to show you last time. So I'll show you those real quick. So for New Year's Eve, my husband and I went to our friend's house, and last minute, maybe not, well, but 1 o'clock in the afternoon-ish, they decided that they wanted to make it 1920s themed, so you can dress up like you're from the 1920s. So I didn't have anything that I could think of, and I worked that day, so I didn't have time to go and get anything. So instead, well, I would have had time to go get something, but I didn't know where I could find 1920 style clothing on New Year's Eve in my hometown. So I went home and I looked up what 1920s fashion was like, and I got inspired and I crocheted a couple hats, and turns out I have a dress that's kind of like a modern 1920s style dress, and my husband had some nice shirts and stuff, so he wore that. So for my husband, I made him this hat. Now it looks really quite funny like this because of how it fits. I don't know if I'll be able to fit it on my head. So the way he wore it was kind of, I think he turned it and then it just kind of sat like this on his head. So it's kind of like a newsboy style hat. And I think his turned out a little big on top, but it worked out perfectly with the rest of his outfit. And you can wear it different ways. Like the pattern, it was like this, but this didn't stick out as far, so he wore it off to the side like that. This pattern is, I have it written down, the Guy's Cap pattern by Priscilla Hewitt, and I will link that down below if you're interested. It was very simple. It did take me, I shouldn't say it took me a while, because I finished 2 hats in about 4 hours. Pretty good. And I just used some scrap yarn. I think this was Bernat Premium. I don't know the colorway. Like I said, it was just scrap. But yeah, it turned out cute, and I think it looks good on my husband. So I made that one for him. And then for myself, I used a Bag O' Day crochet pattern. And it is this hat here. And it is it's tutorial number 471. It's the Irish Rose Cloche Flapper style hat. So I have it has a flower. It's black, so you can't really see it too much. And then I put a little button. And I wore it like this. I think I put the side up a little bit. So I just wore it like that. And then I had bright red lipstick and whatnot. So it might have been, I can't remember. Anyways, just a little hat. This one was really easy and it worked up pretty fast. Most of the 4 hours was spent on my husband's hat because that one was a little bit, there's a lot more increasing and stuff. And this one is made with a lot of V-stitches and stuff, which I've never increased in a V-stitch, so that was something new that I learned. But I think it's really cute. I don't know when I'll ever wear it again, but I'll probably just display it in here somewhere. If I get like a, actually I could put it on this thing, change it up a little bit. So yeah, I like it though. It turned out good. There's a lot of cat hair on it. I don't know if you can see any, but yeah. So that's what I did real quick for a costume. Oh, I also crocheted my husband a bow tie, but that was just, I double crocheted back and forth a couple times and then I just tied it with a piece of yarn. I don't even know if I kept it because it didn't turn out that great. It was just something real quick I did. That little piece of hair is driving me crazy. Anyways, I don't have any other immediate finishes. Like I said, I've been in a bit of a funk. Just my mental health has kind of been, I've been struggling with it a little bit. So I'm just not forcing myself to do anything. I've done a little bit of progress on my Just Feel Better shawl. I added maybe an extra 4 rows, but I didn't bring it because I didn't put a marker where it was when I showed you guys last time, so I didn't want to show you and there not be really anything, which you can't really tell. I looked at my video from my last podcast and yeah, you can't really tell that I did anything. I also did a little bit of progress on my Vanya cowl by Hannah of the Cozy Cottage Crochet, but again, not enough to that I feel it needs to be shown. Maybe a couple rows, but that one is one that I really have to make sure I focus on because I have to count my stitches every row, because if I don't, it just doesn't turn out right. So I have to have the brain power to do that, which, like I said, haven't the past couple weeks, and that's okay. I just have to remind myself that it's okay to not want to crochet, but I still try to a little bit here and there. The only other work in progress I have, my mom, oh, it's all tangled up in here. My mom signed us up for a class, and it's with Deb Gemmel, and I love taking classes from her because she, I've mentioned before, she teaches you, she doesn't give you a pattern and help you make it, she teaches you the construction of things. So the one class I took was a hat, and it's all knitting that she does. The one was a hat class, and she teaches you how to crochet the hat from top down. So she teaches you how to do the crown, and then the rest of the hat you can do whatever you like, which I really like. So this class is a sweater class, and it's to make a sweater so you're making blocks. So instead of knitting it like top down and separating for sleeves, you're actually making blocks, which is kind of neat, because then we can, because then you take the measurements and you can make it for any size you want using any weight yarn you want, which was the same for the hat. So this is like, there's a couple examples here of the sweater, so it looks really nice. You can do different necks to it. You can make it a pullover or like a button up or button down. And yeah, it's really neat how it works. A little confusing at first because you got to do math, and I'm no good at math. But we figured it out. And my gauge is pretty good. That was one thing I had never really paid much attention to, was my gauge in knitting. But with this you have to, because you're making a sweater. So my mom is making a sweater for my older nephew, and I'm making one for my baby nephew. So he wears like 24-month clothing, so haven't got much done yet. So we ended up going with Caron Simply Soft, which my mom bought a whole bunch. I didn't know how many I'd need for my nephew, but she picked up a bunch. And this color, so it's a worsted weight yarn, and this color is Country Blue. So we thought it would suit well for both boys. So we just started working on it today, and I haven't really worked much with Caron Simply Soft, and I'm not a huge fan. It is really soft for 100% acrylic. It's very soft. There's 315 yards per skein, and I think my mom bought them for like $3 at Michael's. But it splits like crazy, and I think with crocheting I'd be okay, but since I'm knitting and I'm still not super familiar with knitting a lot of the time, it's just, I've been struggling, but again, learning experience. So we just started today. So the first little bit was just us figuring out our gauge and whatever. So like I said, it's worked in panels. So we started with the back. So you make like a strip kind of thing. So all I have is, oh, I gotta take out my mom caked it up for me. All I have is a little rectangle right now. So this is like our gauge swatch slash part of the back. So it's really interesting how it works up. How the sweater will work up, and it's just garter stitch, so it's just back and forth. And that's another thing, it's not knit in the round, it's just back and forth. So, and I also learned how to do an I-cord edge today, which I've never done before, but it's really neat. So it makes the edges look really nice and clean. Not so much on mine because of my knitting, but it makes nice edges. So I might use that to make like dishcloths and stuff. So yeah, that's the start of my sweater. Just a little rectangle. But I just have to pay attention to the yarn because like I said, it is kind of splitty, and I have heard that before. But we'll see. And I'm using my Chia Goo needles. They're my favorite. These probably don't help with the splitting because they are very sharp. But they're my favorite needles, so yeah, started that today. The class is 5 weeks long. She said that should be enough to knit a toddler sweater. But we'll see, because it's me. Thankfully my mom's taking the same class, so if I have questions I can just ask her. And that is all for works in progress, like I said, other than the ones that I've added a couple rows to. Another one of my priorities is my squares from last year. So I have them all in here. So my square months I was doing. I still have to put the borders on. I was going to pick up yarn last week when we were out shopping, but I was just not, when we picked up the yarn for the sweaters, I just was not in the mood to shop. So I'll probably just grab some at Walmart. I would use stuff out of my stash, but I don't have any colors that would really work with that. Or I don't have enough, because I might use gray. I don't know if I want to use gray or... Probably gray, just because of my pets and stuff. I don't want to use black, because the cat hair and the dog hair, you can really see it on black. And the white would just get dirty with my dogs. So... I'll have to think, but I don't have anything right now. But I'm hoping to, maybe Sunday I'll get some, and I'm hoping to get it started soon so I can do a tutorial on how I'm going to do my borders. But borders should be simple enough anyways, but yeah. So anyways, that's all I have to show you today. Oh, by the way, real quick, I'm wearing the Nanton cowl today. I talked about it on my last podcast, and it's by Nicole of Durab Creations. The pattern has been released, and I will link to it down below so you can go and download it if you like. It is a pay-for pattern, but well worth it. So yeah, thought I'd throw that out there too. But anyways, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye guys.